How are the small businesses around Arlington surviving the pandemic? Do you know exactly how many streets there are in Arlington? She does. And we toured the town for some seasonal fun. Stay tuned.
From McLennan Park to Spy Pond, from Poets Corner to the Mystic River, we have Arlington covered. We're your neighbors, a friend you can turn to. This is ACMi News.
The pandemic has forced businesses to come up with innovative ways to keep going. Restaurants began outdoor dining, retailers have limited their number of shoppers, but what about the hotel industry? Reporter Anim Osmani checked into Homewood Suites to let us know how they're keeping up.
Oh, hello, and welcome to Homewood Suites, the only operating hotel in town. Since 2008, this hotel accommodates for over 128 visitors from in and around the area. But this year, it has to accommodate for an uninvited guest. In early March, the Homewood Suites by Hilton on Mass Ave saw a 95% occupancy rate in their 128-room hotel. But when the pandemic struck, that occupancy rate plummeted, and the hotel struggled to hit 20%. However, a joint effort from Hilton and the Arlington community helped the hotel stay afloat in the face of COVID, as explained by Samantha George, Director of Sales and Marketing.
So I've worked with our guests that we have in-house to help them make sure that they're staying at the correct rate for this time period. I've worked with the local companies in the area to help them out with anyone that needs a place to stay. We worked with the local Arlington Police Department and the town of Arlington for any one of their employees that needed a place to stay. It's a lot of working with just the local businesses in the area.
Additionally, Hilton launched the Frontline Medical Professional Rooms program in partnership with American Express to help Homewood Suites with their occupancy. The program accommodates nurses and doctors at a $0 rate for a week or more to keep them in the area. The recently launched Shop Arlington First campaign also gave a little boost to their business, as it has for other local enterprises. Samantha George explains why.
We love the Shop Arlington First campaign. We think it's a great way to get residents of Arlington to know more about our hotel. We offer a discounted rate for any residents of Arlington, as well as any business owners or employees at local businesses. So that way, if they have family coming, they can take advantage of it and stay local within Arlington.
Homewood Suites also introduced new policies and procedures to ensure everyone's safety while maintaining their level of comfort.
So we have a whole program that we follow. It's called Hilton Clean Stay with Lysol. That came out back in May to follow different guidelines with cleaning procedures. So we have specific touch points that we have to focus more time on for the housekeepers. Rooms have to be put out of order for 24 hours after a guest checks out. Then the housekeepers can clean the room. Then they get sealed so the guests can know that no one's been in the room after it's been cleaned. We use the electrostatic sprayers to disinfect the rooms and all the public space, the hospital grade ones. Everyone has to wear masks, employees and guests. We have follow social distancing. We have added many more hand sanitizing stations in the lobby. And the one thing is, we usually have a complimentary hot breakfast buffet. We're not allowed to do that right now. So we have grab and go breakfast boxes, which is the biggest difference, really, for our guests.
Thank you, Anim, for that report. In other news, Arlington is a good-sized town, but I'll bet you can't guess exactly how many streets cover the map. Karen, an Arlington resident of 13 years, knows the answer because she visited every one of them to fundraise for Foodlink. Here's reporter Maxim Isaac with more on her tour around the blocks.
Wow, that was a steep hill. But one Arlingtonian climbed a street like this to raise money for a cause. But she was like, hey, why walk around the block? From the pandemic until October, she visited 604 streets in Arlington. Yes, Arlington resident Karen Turner created a personal challenge in support of a local nonprofit, Foodlink.
Foodlink is a bridge between food that would otherwise be wasted, that we collect from distributors and grocery stores. This is fresh, nutritious food, not canned or boxed food. And then we are the bridge to organizations that provide that food to people who are in need. And those people can be children or seniors or veterans or the homeless. And there's a whole list. So we work with organizations who have food and bring it to organizations that give food to people in need.
Foodlink participates each year in the Ride for Food event, which is a statewide effort to help raise money for food distribution services. This year, of course, things are different.
The Ride for Food is an amazing event. It's not just Foodlink, it's food organizations that provide food across Massachusetts. And so every year there's a ride. It's a fundraising event like the Walk for Food or the Ride for Food or the Mass Pan Challenge, something like that. But this year it did have to go virtual because of COVID. And we asked Karen, as an Arlington resident, if she would be willing to help us and captain. She's an avid cyclist and outdoors person. And so we asked her, and it's amazing what she's done. She created routes for people who could go in, since Foodlink picks up and delivers all around Arlington and Lexington and Winchester and Belmont. She created routes that people could ride to see what Foodlink does in a day, which I thought was tremendous. And then personally, she took on her own challenge of riding every single street in Arlington, which is crazy to me because of the hills that are all over Arlington. The fact that she was able to do that is just amazing.
Karen says Foodlink called their virtual event the Beaten Path, which meant you could do any sort of activity such as walking, biking, kayaking, and so on. But she was already participating in a challenge that inspired her to visit each street.
Around that time, I had also started doing a fun activity that someone from Arlington put together called Circumnavigate Arlington, where there was a map of Arlington and you would sort of run or walk all of the roads surrounding Arlington. So I did that as a running project that took about a month or two. And it was so interesting getting to see all these different streets and neighborhoods I'd never been to despite living here for 13 years. I thought, let's keep going. I'm just going to do every street.
That idea led her to call the town offices to get a map of Arlington, and that's when she found out there are over 600 streets in town. A big number for sure, but she wasn't scared off. And 6 months later, she completed the challenge.
It's just been a lot of fun. I would say probably about 75% of it was riding my bike, and then the rest was jogging. And my main rule was that I was always going to start from home. I wasn't going to drive somewhere and then, do some streets in that neighborhood and then drive home.
Karen explains that she wasn't very organized to start, but by the end, she made sure she didn't miss a single street. She would write things down on a piece of paper and attach it right onto her bike.
I would sort of make an official route and then I just clipped it to my bike. I'm very low tech. I wasn't using any sort of app or mapping program or anything like that. I was keeping it very 20th century.
Karen's fundraiser contributed to Foodlink's goal of raising $35,000, and they are now 75% of the way there. This fundraiser will run until December 1st, and Mulvaney shares that Karen's efforts have so far helped them raise $10,000 more this year than last. Just because Karen's fundraiser has ended doesn't mean you missed out. You can still donate to Foodlink's GoFundMe page by going to their website at foodlinksma.org. For ACMi News, I'm Maxim Isaac.
We heard earlier about Homewood Suites, but how about other businesses in town? ACMi's James Milland surveyed several local entrepreneurs about Shop Arlington First, which was introduced to support local shops and restaurants through the pandemic and beyond. Here's what they had to say.
It certainly has been a challenge because there are still a number of folks that really don't feel safe going not into a salon, but also into any business. So, really making clients feel very safe when they do come into our space, or even, taking the extra time of answering our clients' questions, whether it be, what our protocols are or what some of the things that we do offer. I think the other thing that makes us different is that we are open 7 days a week, And I also have a private room, which we offer hair services. So we've had many clients call in and ask to be able to have their hair done in the private room, so that they're sort of away from the general population. And that has been very successful.
This Shop First Arlington is going to be fantastic because this community is very tight knit and they are very, very supportive. My customers have been unbelievably supportive, ordering more than 1 or 2 boxes to go, and really being there, if to try to keep my business afloat. Just for an example, one of my families that has come to the studio many, many times, and this is at the beginning when it was hard to find any kind of disinfecting cleaning products because everything has to be wiped down and cleaned. And I was just discussing it with her and her daughter's name is Harper. And when I picked up a box for return, what was in there but a brand new bottle of spray. So it's stuff like that that really, I get the goosebumps because I feel like they're an extension of my family. This is a family owned and family run business. We've been here for 21 years. There's families that came as children that are bringing their children. And so, we've extended out and it's just amazing how supportive the customers in the city and the town have been.
One really interesting thing that happened is when I opened up my e-commerce site, I was very, very busy and I was selling to local customers. I was selling to Belmont customers and I was selling to Arlington customers. And then when we opened up, those web sales fell way down because those people could come in. And it has taught me that I still have a very, very local brick and mortar business, that e-commerce pipeline is an accessory, but I'm not really interested in selling to the world at large. I'm interested in selling to my little New England suburb community. I also think just having an extra dose of connectedness with my neighbors and being able to maybe do some cross promotions. I reached out to some of my neighbors in Belmont because we're on Leonard Street. That block is so tiny, and said, let's make an effort to at least once a week promote somebody else, promote Ranks or Belmont Books or that. And I have always done that, but I was asking other people to do it too. And I think I will continue to do that, to be able to point out some good practices that could benefit all of us.
I'm a big believer, I always have been, to shop local. Everything that I bring into the salon, with the exception of the Aveda products, I try to do local. I think it's really important. We are a community, we are a family, and we need to stick together and support our businesses. So whether it's, buying lunch for my staff or, going to get a bottle of wine for a party, I try and do everything local in Arlington. I think it's really important that, we as a community support our town.
I did mention earlier that it is a family run and owned business, and my mother started it 21 years ago in 1999. And I took over probably 3 or 4 years ago. She wanted to retire. So and she's built those relationships, like I was saying, that the families are bringing their children, are bringing their own children and that kind of thing. And they'll remember, oh, how's Rosemary? How's your mother? And that connection to those people is very important to me. And staying local and staying in this business is important for me to keep, to keep going, to keep being part of the community that we've been.
For most shop owners, they have all taken a big hit. So that idea of, instead of driving by Mass Ave and thinking about, oh, there's a vacancy and that place went out of business and I loved to go to that place, but that is way too little too late. And so the idea of this entire movement, and when I put hashtag shop local, shop small on my Instagram post, I mean it. I'm not copying and pasting that. And so this concept of patronizing those businesses, going and getting your coffee at Kickstand Cafe, or getting, a bubble tea at Bubble Nation, and getting all of your art supplies across the street from me instead of going down to Michael's or Staples. and really trying to check out all of those locales first. I mean, none of us sell everything that everybody needs, but many of us have incredible storefronts and beautiful stores and spend a lot of time and energy cultivating what's in those stores to cater to that local customer. We're following trends, we're thinking about it. And so I think it's this real connection between the community and those local businesses to build something together that is long lasting, so that next year at this time, all of those businesses that you liked to drive by, that you liked to patronize, are still there.
How about taking in the beautiful fall foliage? Reporter In Young Kim tells us how weather and timing mix together to create the perfect canvas for fall.
To see the best of the fall foliage, timing is the key. And my timing is very good. As you can see, these beautiful leaves changing their colors quite dramatically.
After this week's rain, the sky has turned deep blue, and in contrast, the fall foliage has changed its colors to red, yellow, and orange. The color will reach its peak soon this week and will probably be gone by the following week. A combination of temperature and humidity determines the colors of the foliage. However, New England has faced extreme conditions this year. Over 80% of the area is in a severe drought. Despite the drought this year, leaves will still show off their vivid colors. Richard Harper, Extension Associate Professor in the Department of Environmental Conservation at the University of Massachusetts Amherst, explains this year's foliage.
So we're having a very nice year in terms of fall color. Is because we went through some significant dry periods this summer. Some of the trees went through color change, what we also call senescence. Some of the trees experienced senescence a little bit earlier than normal. What I've seen this year is trees that were really drought stressed. So those trees that really felt the effects of the dry summer dropped their leaves early this year. That's what we saw this year. The other thing I've noticed this fall is that we've had a number of storms, a number of high wind events, and that can blow off the sun leaves. The sun leaves are the leaves in the exterior of the plant, edges of the plant, the top of the plant, top of the crown, that sort of thing. Well, those get lost in a wind event. So you can pretty quickly lose the bright orange-red leaves, and all that remains are the shade leaves, the leaves that are a little bit more yellow in coloration.
Harper also explains how foliage changed their colors.
We have the chloroplasts in the leaves. Those are small organelles that manufacture chlorophyll. That's the green coloration that you and I see in plants. So those quit manufacturing chlorophyll. The actual chlorophyll itself starts to break down. And when that starts to happen, you start to see yellows and lighter colors.
Beautiful sites in Arlington for leaf viewing include Menotomy Rocks Park, Robbins Farm Park, and Spy Pond Park. Many people have come out to enjoy the fall spectacle while keeping their social distance. Susan Stamps, a member of Arlington Tree Committee, is here with us.
Every fall, we're very excited to see the beautiful fall colors, especially right now. It's a tough time for people, and we need all the color and happiness we can find. So I also want to put a plug in for the town's adopted tree program, where we plant new trees every fall and every spring, and we would appreciate it if people will adopt a tree and take care of watering it. So you can go on the town website and put on the tree map that you can find.
For more information, visit arlingtontrees.org.
Before the leaves are all gone, take a tour around Arlington. The vibrant foliage can be a real stress reliever in this challenging time. For ACMi News, I'm In Young Kim.
With school and sports back in swing, let's turn it over to Studio B for the most recent updates.
Welcome back to the first edition of this year's Ponderscope, your Arlington High School news, updates, and more. Student government elections are rapidly approaching. Starting next week from Monday, October 19th to Wednesday the 21st, all students will be able to vote to elect their class council officers and members to represent their class on the student council. All recorded speeches and ballots will be available online on the election website. In the case of any races that require a runoff election, ballots will open once again on Thursday, with all winners being announced by Friday afternoon. The website link to vote and view speeches will be sent via email in the next few days. If you have any questions, feel free to contact the Student Council Advisor, Mr. McKnight, at pmcknight@arlington.k12.ma.us. Next Tuesday, October 20th, will be the annual AHS Open House. It is advised that all parents attend so they have the opportunity to learn more about their students' teachers. More information regarding the schedule of the evening will be forthcoming by Dr. Janger in the next couple days. The next round of senior portraits will be conducted from October 27th to the 30th. All appointments must be made by seniors ahead of time through Prestige, using the confirmation code that was sent by mail. If you have not received a confirmation code yet, please feel free to contact Ms. Donahue at adonahue@arlington.k12.ma.us. The link to schedule an appointment that has been sent to your Spy Ponder's email. All yearbooks are now available for purchase until March 1st. The current yearbook cost is $65. However, the price will increase to $85 after winter break. So make sure to order them soon. If you have any questions, please contact Ms. Donahue. AP exam registration is now open. Students taking Semester 1 or Semester 2 classes must register for all their exams by Friday, November 13th, or they'll be charged a $40 late fee. To register, first make sure to join AP Classroom using the code provided by your teacher. Then you must log on to Total Registration to complete your registration. The link has been sent to your Spy Ponder's email. For more information, please contact Mr. Thornton at rthornton@arlington.k12.ma.us. And finally, here at the Ponderscope, we're excited to announce that we have a new email address, ponderscope@acmi.tv, where you can send all of the news and information that you would like us to cover every week. We are also happy to announce that we're looking to expand our team with new members. So if you're interested in joining, make sure to reach out via email or to any members of our team. That's all we have this week. I'm Sagar Stogie, and this has been the Ponderscope. Now I'll throw it over to Nick with this week's sports update.
Thanks, Sagar. We have a lot of games to cover that took place this past holiday weekend. Let's start with the girls' varsity soccer squad, who debuted at home against Woburn last Saturday, shutting down the Tanners and beating them 3-0.
Ava back to Sophia. Sophia sends it into the box. And goal!
The girls continued to dominate, getting another win against Lexington on Monday, beating them 4-1 and starting off the year with a perfect 3-0 record. Now the boys' varsity soccer squad were at home for their first game, but traveled for their next two this past weekend. They started off the weekend nicely, making up for their missed opportunity to win their first meeting against the Tanners by beating them 2-0. They then traveled to Lexington on Monday to play the ever-so-tough Minutemen. The two teams battled hard throughout the contest, but neither squad was able to take the lead, ending the game with a score of 0-0. This leaves the boys with a 1-0-2 record on the year as they continue their journey to take the division title. Field hockey also stayed strong this weekend, beating the Tanners again on Saturday by a score of 8-0. But they took a loss on Monday against Lexington, barely losing by a score of 1-0. Last but not least, the golf team bounced back after two straight losses to beat the Tanners back-to-back by scores of 45-27 and 51-21 respectively. Now that we've covered all of last week's action, let's look ahead to next week's matchups. Field hockey goes on the road this Saturday to play Lexington at 6:30. Girls soccer goes on the road this Saturday as well to face off against Lexington at 2:30. Boys soccer returns home this Saturday for senior night as they face off against their rivals, the Lexington Minutemen, at 2. This game will be live streamed on ACMi Sports on YouTube, so make sure to subscribe to be notified when we will be going live. That's all for this week's edition of the Sports Update. My name is Nick Antonakis, and I'll see you next week.
And now for Sydney's media moment. Most people know the iconic Western from the 60s, The Magnificent Seven. But did you know it was based on a Japanese masterpiece? Sydney Britt revisits the 1954 classic, The Seventh Samurai by Akira Kurosawa.
Hello Arlington, my name is Sydney Britt and I welcome you to Sydney's Media Moment. It's Spooktober, so I took the liberty of dressing up like a cowboy. Yeehaw. Today I'd like to do something I call explaining a movie you probably haven't had the time to watch because it's over 3 hours long. It's not a great title, working on it. I'm going to tell you the story of Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai. The movie's 3 hours and 27 minutes long, so let's get into it. Spoilers ahead. The movie takes place during the Warring States period in Japan. And we start out by meeting villagers who are being tormented by bandits. So they decide to go out and find some hungry samurai who will work for food. So, our main villager, named Rikichi, and 3 other men, including Old Man Yohei, head to a bustling town where they accost Ronin in the street. They don't have any luck for a long time until one fateful day when they see an old samurai take out a thief and save a child. Now this man, called Shimada, catches the attention of 6 people. Our 4 villagers, a young man named Kachiro, the eye candy of the film, and some dude named Kichio. We'll come back to him later. In the meantime, Kachiro starts following Shimada as a disciple. Then our boy Rikichi kowtows before Shimada and asks him to help his village. It takes a lot of convincing, but once Shimada sees Yohei cry, no one cries like Yohei, and realizes how much they're giving up to hire him, he agrees to help. Shimada goes over a defense plan and decides they need at least 7 samurai. Rikichi goes out and finds a samurai named Gorobei Kariyama, who agrees to join the squad. Shimada runs into an old friend called Shichiroji, who also agrees to join up. And Gorobei hits the town and runs into a barely mediocre samurai named Heihachi Hayashida, who also agrees to join the cause. Then one evening, a samurai named Kyuzu, my favorite boy, drops by and joins the group because he just wants to battle and test his skill. Can't knock it. Then a very drunk Kichio comes in and declares himself a samurai, which is a lie. But anyways, he just passes out and the boys leave without him the next morning. But don't worry, he follows them all the way to the village. On the first day of the samurai's stay, Shimada starts planning out the defenses. And in the meantime, my king, Kyuzo, trains the villagers, so everything's getting prepped. Throughout the movie, the samurai and the villagers grow very close, and it's very wholesome. Eventually, it's barley harvesting time, and all's going well, until one day the samurai notice some bandit scouts. So my man Crush Monday, Kyuzo, goes with Kichio and Kachiro to cut off the bandits and kill them before they can report back that there are samurai in the village. It's a great scene, very cool. Next, my dearest Kyuzo, Heihachi, Kichio, and Rikichi go out to attack the bandits' base. They light a hut on fire and just pick off the bandits as they run out. Super easy, simple plan, right? Well, apparently not, because Rikichi just had to see his wife run out of the building. He tries to chase her back into the burning hut, but Heihachi stops him, and this leads to a bit of a scuffle, and Heihachi ends up getting sliced by a sword. Yeah, that's right, Heihachi's dead. I blame Rikichi, but I don't want to be gossipy, so I'll move on. So they bury Heihachi, but then the bandits attack the village, and it's important to note they have 3 muskets. Shimada notes that the bandits have attacked from all sides except one, the one they purposely left open. So he lays out a battle plan. They're going to let in 1 or 2 bandits at a time, and then the villagers will swarm forward and block the others from getting in. And then the bandits that got in will be taken care of by the samurai and villagers that are waiting for them. It's not camping, it's strategy. One afternoon, a bowman gets into the village, and he ends up shooting villagers and killing my man, Yohei. When things seem they can't get any worse, the samurai hear a gunshot. Gorobei was killed. I know it's a lot in a few minutes. When night falls, Shimada declares that the next day will be the big showdown. The men share sake and prepare. Okay, the final day. So, the men let in all the bandits. There's 13 left, and everything's going well until a couple of them sneak into the woman's hideout, where one of them takes a shot and ends up hitting and killing Kyuzo. Yes, I'm heartbroken. But have no fear, Kichio heads off immediately to avenge his death, though he's also shot. But in his last moments of life, he takes out the gunman and dies with honor. And so the battle's over, and there's 3 samurai left. Shimada ends the movie looking at a graveyard filled with comrades and villagers. And he says, in the end, we lost this battle too. Victory belongs to those peasants, not us. That's the rundown on Seven Samurai. It's an incredible movie. It's my favorite. And I honestly don't do it justice. I had to cut a lot of stuff out for time. So I recommend you check it out on your own time so that you can come to love the characters as much as I have. Specifically Kyuzo, of course. The movie's rated TV-14 due to some language and depictions of samurai butts. Do with that as you will. And that's all, folks. Thank you for watching.
Thank you for tuning into this week's newscast. Don't forget that you can find it and lots of other great content on our website at acmi.tv. Have a good rest of your week. For ACMi News, I'm Kristen Bullier.